Hey guys, welcome back to the channel where I cover missing persons, unsolved cases, crime news, and more. By now, if you're following the Idaho University murders case, the Idaho 4, you have probably heard that the house is set to be demolished on December 28th. Now, it has been set to be demolished twice before, and then it was pulled back due to various reasons. But it looks like at this point, a news release from the university, who, as we know, owns the home now, said the decision to tear down the house during the winter break was made in an effort to decrease further impact on students living in that area. My opinion, that's not completely why they want to tear it down. I think I've said it before, and I think it's a grave, horrific memory, or horrific, 4 horrific murders happened inside of that house. And I think it is, for the university, I think it's considered an eyesore. It's considered, it may risk students, enrolling in the school. Again, I think it's not all about, doing it to for any good. I think it's really about the money. Because really, a university, they're out to make the money. So I'm not saying that they're not sympathetic, but at the same time, I don't personally believe that the demolishing of that home is, for them, has anything to do with, the students, and when they come back, it'll be so, it'll be much better for their mental health or whatever they want to toss out there. Yeah, it's, for me, that doesn't go. But again, that's just my opinion. Now, it seems like the families have been fighting, obviously, for it. The biggest fighter for keeping the house up has been the Goncalves family. And Steve Goncalves spoke with Ashley Banfield the other night.
I am joined now live by Steve Goncalves. He is the father of one of the 4 students killed, Kaylee Goncalves. Steve, thank you for being on tonight. Just your reaction to getting this news. Was this a surprise, hearing that there's a date scheduled and it is December 28th?
Yeah, I was surprised that we're at a moment in the case that we don't even have a trial date. We've had a trial date for almost the vast majority of once they had a suspect. So we don't have a trial date, but we have a date to have, largely the biggest piece of evidence being destroyed, which just seems backwards,
So I would have expected that something this monumental would have been discussed behind the scenes, that your lawyer, Shannon Gray, would have been in conversations at least to give you guys, enough time to process this. And it sounds like that's not the case. You didn't get much time, different than the time that we got in terms of this announcement.
No. And I kind of take this as from a perspective of that my opinion's not important. As a parent, that's not it. What is important is the lead investigators at the county, state, and federal level. And it is, to my knowledge, that they are not in all agreement. And we tried to get them to all come in agreement and address, come out with a formal statement. So if they can't all agree, I find it very hard for the parents to all agree. We're all...
Wow. So the investigators are not all in agreement, according to Steve Goncalves. And while he's not aware of everything obviously going on, he is the most informed, obviously through his lawyer. He's been the most outspoken of all the families. And I just think it's a punch in the gut that they just threw this date out, last week. And, I know I was like, wow, I mean, whew, quick on the uptake there. They just want to knock it out of the park, get rid of it before everybody comes back for the new year. And if all the families and the investigators, the attorneys, whatever, were all together on that, I think that would be I would be better. I would feel better about it. And obviously, we're looking in from the outside here, but we all have heard Steve speak before, Mr. Gonzalez, and he and his family, they don't want the house demolished at this point. And I agree with him. There's not even a trial date. Remember Brian Kohlberger waived, the speedy trial. So it will happen probably next year, but we don't know when it's going to happen at this point. And I still think that like he said, this home, as horrific as it is, what happened there, it is the biggest piece of evidence in this case. And as many times as the state, the investigators, and then the DA's office and the defense is now scheduled to come in there before they demolish it, the 28th, as much as they all have gone in there and taken, they've done the evidence, photography, video, all this technology they've been able to get. To me, nothing still replaces the physical home. You look back at, the Murdoch case. They went to, the property. And then, of course, in the Parkland, they all went to the school. So I think technology can do a lot of good things, but still nothing can replace a physical walkthrough of the crime scene.
Well, we're all trying to get through this the best way we can. I want to be absolutely respectful to every single one of the parents. I understand. I understand that this has to go down, and I'm not going to fight it forever. And I want to be careful what I fight, because this is a losing battle. But
well, it's a long battle as well, as we've come to understand. That brings me to the issue of Mrs. Chapin. Ethan Chapin's mom, Stacy, has given that statement to me, saying that, we're okay with this at this point. We agree with the university. We think it's in the best interest of the kids who are there, including her two kids, and the community as a whole. What are your thoughts about that?
I totally respect it. I get it. I have leaked footage. I've seen things that they may have not seen. I know for a fact the path that this white salon, this car took. And people are going to wonder what he was doing when he parks in certain locations for extended amount of time. What was he looking at? I want to know what he was looking at. And I don't know how you can see what this man was looking at without the house being there. What windows was he peering into? Why did he pick that location to stop at? Why did he keep going back to these certain locations? And I don't know about the other 12 or 13 times that he was there. I just know of the day that this happened and the footage that was given to me. So I'm going to do what's best for my girl. I'm going to protect her. I'm going to weigh on the side of what's best for her, and making sure that I'm not going to let something slip through our hands that I could have said something. But I do understand it has to go.
I have this question for you, because up until now I hadn't really contemplated this, but do you think it's at all possible that the prosecution is so confident about their case, they're not worried at all about the house standing?
I've been told that exact thing. I've been told 100%. The amount of stuff we have, Steve, relax. You're a very aggressive a father. Relax. But it's not in my character to just sit back and just know that an opportunity isn't being seized upon. And I couldn't live with myself. I couldn't.
And he shouldn't. We have seen how amazing of a father and an advocate, supporter Steve Goncalves is. He's a fighter, and he's a fighter not only for his daughter Kaylee, he's a fighter for all four of these college kids. And obviously, like he said, he can't speak for all of them. And I know I want to, the same thing, like we're all following it from the outside. and as someone who is out here trying to advocate as well for the victims and the families, and I respect that Ethan Chapin's family wants the home to be demolished. I think that I see that part for them as they're seeing it as a healing, and I think it is going to be a healing. But I know I agree with what Steve has been saying is it's a crime scene, and as horrific as it is to remain up, it's to me, I feel like it's still, what if in the trial they need it? I mean, once you take something down, you can't put it back. It's not gonna, you can't just put it back. And like he said, he's stating that he's seen footage of the car, of BK's car. So they're not gonna be able to see that. Granted, they did all those videos, and they're gonna have some real high technology to show the jury visually. But again, there's nothing that replaces being there and standing in a physical place. It just doesn't replace it.
Live with myself if later on, something happened and a jury member said, you know what, it really came down to the fact that I couldn't see firsthand. They told us the ideal jury member was someone who had thousands of acres and had no time to watch TV. He was out on the farm. Well, I don't feel like that kind of guy is going to see the footage that I seen and not want to understand what was going on in the house. And a computer program is going to mean nothing to that farmer. Almost zero value in a computer model to a farmer like that.
I want to dovetail off something you just said, and that is that they've told you that, Steve, the amount of stuff we have, relax. Are you referring to like victims advocates or people actually in the know of the case, that they have such a solid case that you should rest easy?
Because I've made myself vocal, people have reached out to me, and some of those people have just said that if what I know is accurate, Steve, there's a massive amount of information. This case will open up other investigators to know that there's a whole nother level of data being collected on people, and some of that will come out in this case.
Yeah, he's being smart. Obviously, he's not going to say who told him that. But from day one, I have had so much respect for Mr. Steve Goncalves, and obviously I have respect for all the families, and I have. It's horrific. I mean, I can't relate to being a family member of someone who's been murdered, but we all have our sympathies, and as I want justice for them, as well. And I think that Steve, whether or not you always agree with what he's had to say, he's been fighting for Kaylee and these four beautiful people on the screen, these four young lives that were really just getting started. He's been fighting for these college kids from the beginning, and he's always had their best interest at heart. And I think that, like he said, though, I mean, if he doesn't say something and he believes that the house should stay, which many do. I mean, I'm one of them, and of course my opinion doesn't matter to any of them, any of the people that matter. But if he doesn't say something, he needs to put that out there, and I think that is important. But I feel like it does really, to me, it's horrific that the university, not that they had to, but it's really crappy, in my opinion, that the university didn't somehow speak to the families before the news came out. And it sounds like they didn't, so I'm putting that out there, that I think that's kind of crappy. And obviously they own the home now, they own it, and they can do whatever the hell they want with it. We all have learned that, but I just think it's respectful, and it's just, that was a respectful thing to do, to talk to these families, at least say, hey, not a press release or them hearing it on the news. they should have reached out to all of these families and said, hey, we have decided that we're going to demolish this home by the end of the year. And they, of course, they could have said, we're not going to postpone it anymore. It's done. We just, want to do it during the winter break. I mean, obviously, like I said, they're going to get Steve's reaction, and the Chapins are obviously for it. We don't know at this point what the other two families, what Santa's family, and what they think, and Madison's. But I don't know. I mean, what do you guys think? I mean, I know there's going to be opinions on both sides, and I'm just more for the evidence. I just feel like he said, to me, it's from the beginning. It's always been something about a physical crime scene. There's just something about it, and once you bulldoze it, it's gone. It's gone for good. So let me know your thoughts on this in the comments. Again, my always my thoughts and prayers do go out to these families. I respect every one of their opinions and their thoughts, because they're the ones I think that matter. But in the end, we all want justice for these four. All right, guys, that's all I've got for this one. I hope you have a great rest of the day. And most of all, stay safe.